Hello and welcome back to Colonial Man 7. We've been discussing the Declaration of Independence. I've walked you through my favorite segment of the Declaration. If this is the first time you've turned into Colonial Man, do a new search or look into YouTube for Colonial Man Episode 1, then 2, then 3, and on through 6. This is Colonial Man 7. Now I want to conclude from reading something out of my book, which contains the Declaration of Independence. And I must apologize, I need my glasses. Bear with me for a minute. I know. Colonists didn't really have glasses that looked like this, nor did they try to put them on over their tricorns. You've got me, I'm a phony. Okay. After the segment that I recited to you and explained comes a long listing, the abuses and the usurpations. They catalog, here's what you've done to us, King George III. Here is what you've done to us, Parliament, which has driven us to this point. Now, here's what they say at the very end. They say, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor. What we need to understand is that from the outset, the Revolutionary War was laughable. There was no chance that the rabble of American soldiers called the Continental Army could stand up against the mightiest nation on the face of the earth at the time, England. It was laughable. The whole thing was supposed to be over and done with in one battle. Even George Washington had to adopt the strategy of running away. Hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. And then he trained his generals to do the same. Francis Marion probably being the most famous, known as the Swamp Fox. Nathaniel Greene also comes to mind. But the point is, the men who signed the Declaration of Independence did so knowing that they were now identifying themselves as what England would be identifying as the head that needed to be severed from the body. They were traitors. And as traitors, they should be hung. The men, when they said, our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, these men expected to die, but they were doing it nonetheless. That's why the Declaration is so important. As far as the contents of it, as far as understanding what's said in there, it's critical that we understand this part of our legacy. Because in it, they give us the recipe for what it is government is supposed to be and what we do about it if they fail to do their job. And I think we've lost sight of that. Now, once again, I'm going to give a short advertisement for my book, but I would like to start by reading some of the things that people who know me had to say about my character. My superintendent of the Wenatchee Public Schools said, Jim is an extremely gifted teacher. In fact, in conversations with others about his skills in the classroom, I have described him as an artist. Jim not only knows research, best-based practices of instruction, he has a unique ability to engage students by making subject matter interesting, relevant, and fun. An assistant principal said this, a gifted writer and a wonderful sense of humor, Jim spends countless hours developing lessons that are entertaining, informative, and appealing to students. A colleague of mine as a teacher said Jim is a natural teacher. He is that rare combination of expert in the subject area he teaches and a flawless deliverer of instruction. Jim is also a natural storyteller and is able to make U.S. history come alive for his students. Throw in a kid-friendly sense of humor and the conditions are perfect for high levels of student learning to occur. Another colleague said, probably the most telling indicator of Jim's exceptional instructional practices are the words of his students. Often students will come into my room having just left Jim's class. They will be excitedly discussing the topic of the day, be it free speech or amendments to the Constitution. Any outside observer can discern that Jim has challenged his students to think and apply their knowledge. Parents wrote this, we're especially thankful for his passion for history, which he passed on to our children. He made it come alive and interest them. Not always easy in middle school history. Because of his ability to interest students, all of our children have a good basic knowledge of the history of our country. Another pair of parents said this, Jim taught them the meaning of the words and the phrases, and he helped them really understand the importance of the Declaration of the Independence. I would encourage you to get this book. Again, although I wrote it for teens, the adults who have read it have said, I can't believe how much I learned. Or, I remember going through this as a student, but I never really understood it in such detail. Now it all makes sense. And finally, another parent said, or another adult reader said, this should be required reading in every school in America. That, to me, was probably the highest compliment I've received so far. It's called United States History, Roots Through Constitution, Our Disappearing Legacy by James William Brigleb, B-R-I-G-L-E-B. You can email me at constitutiontoday@gmail.com, and for the low price of $12, which includes shipping, I'll get you a copy of this book, which covers from biblical times through the spread of Christianity throughout Europe, the Pilgrim era, early colonialism, much emphasis on the Revolutionary period, and a breakdown of the U.S. Constitution explaining what each part of the Constitution is trying to do, including the modern amendments. Thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. I'm Colonial Man.